Welcome into the Steelers Talk Mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and this is my favorite segment to do all week because I get to hear from you guys. I like to have that two-way conversation. I get to talk about the topics that you guys care about, and you guys have an opportunity to get your voice here on the channel every single Friday when we have our Steelers Talk live shows. So if you're watching this and it's not the live show, that means, you can't get your question in. But if you want to get a question on a future Steelers Talk live show, we go live every single Wednesday and Friday, and we have the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on YouTube. We have built an incredible family of Yinzers on this channel that comes together every Wednesday and Friday to talk Steelers football together. If you want to join that, if that's something that interests you and you want to talk Steelers football every single week on a live show, you can do that, and you can even get on one of these mailbags in the future. So make sure you click that subscribe button today. Okay, now we got our first question here from Nothing. What's up, Nothing? Says, if you were the GM, who would you make the wide receiver to? So I'd have to see these guys. I would have to see these guys in practice, right? I'd have to be there at practice, at training camp every day. And I'd have to, and by the way, the GM doesn't make the decision on that. The head coach does, right? So if I were Mike Tomlin, I'd watch these guys very closely throughout training camp, throughout the preseason. And I would assume at this point, given what we've heard, that Calvin Austin III will be this number 2 receiver. And then Mr. Roman Wilson will move his way up. But, it's going to be a rotation. They're going to give opportunities to Van Jefferson. They're going to give opportunities to Quez Watkins. They might even give some opportunities to Scotty Miller. Right, so it's going to be a hodgepodge of different guys getting in and out, but the main guys are going to be George Pickens, the number 1 receiver, Pat Freiermuth, the number 1 tight end, and then Roman Wilson's going to get more and more work as the season continues. That's the way I see it. Then we go on from Kevin Reed. It says, would Omar trade James Daniels and left tackle Moore with a 2025 second-round pick for Aiyuk? Honestly, I think that get rid of Moore in that deal. I mean, the 49ers have Trent Williams, and Dan Moore has said he doesn't want to play right tackle. So if the Steelers trade him, he's going to go to a team where he can play left tackle, right? So, and he can't do that in San Francisco. But second-round pick and James Daniels, that's something I would pull the trigger on. I think that's a fair deal, more than fair. The Steelers are not going to be bringing back James Daniels next year. There's a reason why they drafted Mason McCormick. They really like him, and they're not giving Daniels an extension this year, and there's multiple reports saying that they plan on letting him go next offseason. So might as well get something for him now. If trading Daniels is the key to getting Aiyuk, I'm not letting that get in the way. Let's put it that way. Okay, next question here, producer Joey. $5 super chat here from Vagabond Abstract. I hope I'm saying that right. Says, I'm a loyal Yinzer, but still a cynic. I know we have the preseason excitement, but who are 3 players you think might not meet expectations this year? Darnell Washington is the first one that comes to mind. I feel like people really think he's going to be like a star receiving threat tight end. I don't see that in him. I see him more as just like a bigger run-blocking tight end. That's just, I think that he's going to probably underperform. Another guy that I think will probably not have as good of a season as people are expecting. Another guy. Interesting. Probably what I will say here is I think that the rookie offensive linemen, Fa'utano and Frazier, they're going to take their lumps. They're going to be rookies this year. I don't think the Steelers will have a top 5 defensive line. I think that that they'll be fine and they'll be solid, and this team will still be really good. But I think that maybe if you're expecting this to be a top 5 offensive line, maybe those 2 guys will disappoint a little bit. They got JP Daboy, I like that name, says, I saw that some people think the Steelers should sign Dak Prescott next offseason. Do you think that is a possibility? It's a possibility. I wouldn't say it's a likelihood. I think Russell Wilson's going to play well this year. I think kind of the flip of the previous question, I think one of the guys that's going to overperform expectations is Russell Wilson. And he's going to sign a 2 to 3 year extension to stay here in Pittsburgh, and we're not even going to be having this discussion. But if Russ and Justin Fields both not play well, then, the Steelers got to take in account all these different options. Dak Prescott, if Kirk Cousins is on the trade market, all these different things. If Russ and Fields stinks, you got to take into account every possibility. So predict it for me down there in the comments. Will the Steelers have a new quarterback in 2025, or will Justin Fields or Russell Wilson be the guy past this next season? This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know if the Steelers have their quarterback of the future. Moving on from Super Steelers Gaming, it says, what if we traded for Rashee Rice? I mean, what are we talking about here, man? I'm not even sure if Rashee Rice is going to be playing games this year. I mean, he's going to get some sort of suspension. I don't think Kansas City's going to want to deal him. At this point, man, after the Cam Sutton thing, it's like how many people, that are being charged with crimes do you want to bring into this organization? I don't know, man. I personally wouldn't love getting Rashee Rice. Then we got one from Ivy's Bag League who says, do you think the Steelers linebacking core is top 3 in the NFL? My friend who's a Browns fan thinks that they are only top 20. That Browns fan is so full of crap, okay? Because you've got Patrick Queen, who was a second-team All-Pro last year, and he's looking great. Landon Roberts had a really good season last year. He's fully healthy, and he's back. Peyton Wilson was a fantastic draft pick who was a first-round talent. He's ready to go right away. He's going to be a rotational piece for you. And if Cole Holcomb comes back healthy, you got 4 starting capable inside linebackers. All right, that's really, really good. And then, Deshaun Elliott is going to be playing kind of like a hybrid safety linebacker role this year. Whoever said that, whoever your Browns fan is, I don't know. They must have a screw loose, or maybe they're just a Browns fan. I don't know. Then we got Corey Goodwin. It says, do you think the Steelers will bring in Hakeem Butler before the start of the season? Because my man balled out in the UFL. Hakeem played great. Absolutely. He played great in the UFL. He won Offensive Player of the Year. And we all know the Steelers could use a little bit of size in their wide receiver room. Plus, he has familiarity with the organization. I would personally do it if you can't get Brandon Aiyuk, and it looks like you're not. If you can't get one of the Seattle receivers, it looks like you won't. If you can't get Cortland Sutton, it looks like you won't. Like, if you're out of options and you don't want Michael Thomas, then Hakeem Butler might be somebody, a nice dart throw to give him a shot here before the start of the season. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Daily videos on the Steelers every single day for free here on the channel. Breaking news coverage. So if they make a trade for a receiver or if they sign a receiver, whatever the case may be, we're going to be going live here on the channel when that news breaks. Weekly live shows every Wednesday and Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, plus Paul Skeen's watch parties whenever he pitches, and it's all 100% free. So if you love the Steelers, you want content on this team every single day, this is the place for you. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. Then we go on from my man Atticus, who says, if both of our quarterbacks this year underperform, do you think we will draft somebody in 2025? So Atticus, I think it's too early to answer this question because we don't know how many good quarterbacks are going to be, first-round caliber guys. We don't know where the Steelers will be drafting, even though if Fields and Russ underperform, you're probably going to be around middle of the pack or so. Personally, guys, I think if they're getting a new quarterback next offseason, it's probably going to be via trade or via free agency, just because I don't have any confidence in the quarterbacks that are coming out next year. So, it's still a long way till then. Guys can develop in their final year of college, and, guys can come out of nowhere. But at this point in time, I think if the Steelers need a replacement at quarterback, it's going to come in free agency or via trade. Then we go on from the Jerk Is Mine, and he says, I love the ball intro. So the new intro. So yeah, I mean, it's something that our graphics guy Arnold came up with. I think it looks pretty good. Let us know in the comments if you like the new intro. I think it's pretty good, but let me know what you guys think. Then we go on from Colton, says, bring back Juju Smith-Schuster. Honestly, I could see them do it. I really could. If he gets cut by the Patriots, and it looks like he might, let's just face it. He is Mike Tomlin's type of slot receiver. A bigger guy that can block. He can still get open a little bit, but, he's only 27 years old. But last year was definitely not a good year for him. He's dealt with injuries, multiple injuries at this point. I think he has chronic knee issues. So there's definitely other guys that I would rather bring in, but, I would actually say Juju is one of the more realistic possibilities at this point. Then we go on from Alex Klump. He says, do you think Russell Wilson will be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL this year? And if so, will that be enough to turn the Steelers into legit title contenders? Yes, it will be. And I do think he's going to be a top 10 QB. Now, listen, he has not been a top 10 QB the last 2 years, but the situations that he has been in with Nathaniel Hackett and then a complete mismatch of his skill set with a new scheme and Sean Payton was terrible for him. Now he's in a system, very quarterback friendly, lots of play action, lots of downfield passing. It's perfect for this quarterback and his skill set. Plus, he's one of the most clutch quarterbacks in NFL history. In those close quarters type games, where it's 3-point margin, Russell Wilson's going to find a way to get W's in those games, just like Kenny Pickett was able to, and this team was able to. I think that he's the perfect fit for what the Steelers are looking for this offseason. That's why they got him, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to succeed, be a top 10 quarterback in this league again, and get the Steelers back into title contention and deliver a playoff win. Now, true or false? Let me know down there in the comments section. The Steelers will be a legitimate title contender this season with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. Type true or false for me down there in the comments section to let me know your thoughts on the 2024 Pittsburgh Steelers. Got another question here from Christopher Roy. Says, what needs to go into the Steelers secondary to make that the end of the defense better? With a better secondary, we got a top 3 defense. I honestly think the secondary is good. After the Cam Sutton signing, Beanie Bishop Jr., the undrafted free agent, looks like he could be a really good backup in the slot. They obviously believe in Dante Jackson. They pretty much traded Deontay Johnson, one of the best route runners in football, straight up for him. He was top 5 in Pro Football Focus grading in man coverage last year, so that's why they love him. He's very fast. Joey Porter Jr. was locked down last year. We all know that. And then at safety, you got Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's an all-pro caliber player, Deshaun Elliott, who's going to be a really versatile piece for them, and then DeMonte KZ as a rotational safety, pretty darn good. So honestly, Christopher, I think that the secondary is actually pretty good. Maybe if you want to get Justin Simmons to take DeMonte KZ's role, I don't think Justin would take that role, but that's really the only way I can see this team getting better at this point. Then we get to Super Steelers Gaming, who says trade for Bill Belichick for defensive coordinator. No. Terrell Austin's been perfectly fine. The defense has put up good numbers despite having pretty key injuries the last couple seasons. Cam Hayward was dealing with a huge injury last year. TJ Watt has gotten injured as well. Obviously, the linebacking and safety rooms have been just crushed by injuries, especially last season, and Austin was able to do pretty darn good, despite that. So I think Austin's fine. I think he gets a bad rap with Steelers fans for no reason. I think that he's perfectly fine, and you don't need Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator. And by the way, Belichick is enjoying his 24-year-old girlfriend right now, so he's not even looking to be a DC. Then we got one from Robert Slavic, who says, how long do you think Russ will play this season? I honestly believe Fields gets the nod early. I disagree, Rob. I do. I think that Russell Wilson plays really well out of the gate. The Steelers' schedule is pretty manageable to start the year, so I think they're going to get some wins. And if Russell Wilson's winning, they're not going to think about going to Fields. I've said it on the show a number of times. They went and got Russell Wilson before Justin Fields, and Fields wouldn't even be a Steeler right now if Kenny Pickett wasn't a crybaby and demanded his ass out of Pittsburgh, right? So they view Justin Fields as a backup option and then a plan B in case Russell Wilson stinks. But this team sees Russell Wilson as their quarterback for the next 3-4 years. That is what the plan is right now. And unless Russ plays really bad, I don't see Fields getting on the field as a starting quarterback this year. Then we go on from Bo Callahan. Says, what % chance is there that the Steelers trade for Brandon Aiyuk at this point? 5% chance. I don't think the chances are that good. You got to get the 49ers to come to the table, and it doesn't look like they're going to. They want to win a Super Bowl. Aiyuk is their best receiver. And getting rid of him at this point, it just doesn't make sense if you're trying to win a Super Bowl. So I think that they might even let him walk in free agency next year. They might franchise tag him next offseason. There's a lot of things they could do, but I think the one thing they will not do, unless there's a trade demand, which I don't see happening, is keep him on their roster. Now, what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. % chance that Brandon Aiyuk will be a Steeler this season. I'll give it a 5% chance, and that might even be generous, guys, in my opinion, but put it on a scale for me, 0 to 100. What do you guys think? That'll be it for today's Mailbag segment, guys. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to enjoy all of our Steelers content that comes out for free every single day.